Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be replacing the back glass to this Galaxy S20. As you can see here, let me get it closer up to the camera here. You can already tell the glass has already been peeling off and it's been revealing the soft plastic underneath. So in today's video, we're going to show you how we remove the back glass and replace the back glass as well. So for starters, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and set this phone on our heating pad, so that way we can go ahead and heat up the back, and that way we can go ahead and remove it, separate it off the back, and get access to the phone so we can install the new one. So the heat that you should use when cooking the phone, you shouldn't use anything too high of a temperature. The heating pad that we have is a controlled heat, so it's not too strong. It is evenly dispersed. On top of that, we also don't leave the phone on there for too long, as it can potentially damage the phone if it is left for too long. So we're going to be doing it in intervals of putting the phone onto the heating pad, taking it off, while we try to remove the back. So never leave the phone on there for too long, as it can damage the internals. And then to prep, we are going to get a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to leave a small reservoir of alcohol here, and this is where I'm going to be dunking in my pry tool. The pry tool that we're going to be using is going to be the thinnest pry tool that we can use. So this is just a very thin, from what you can see here, it's just a very thin metallic, I guess you could say, strip. This is what we're going to use to basically get in between the portion of the phone on the back glass and the frame of the phone. And this is not going to be inserted all the way. I'll show you right now as we go ahead and start the removal. So I'm going to get our phone here, and I'm going to dunk a little bit. And then with a very slight edge of your pry tool, you're going to go ahead and you're going to insert it. And you can feel that with the mixture of the heat and the alcohol, it is going to be a little bit easier to remove. The adhesive is softened up by the heat, and then it's easily removed by the alcohol. So it's going to be a lot more easier to do it that way. And then if you do start to feel it drag a little bit, just go back in and get more alcohol. Try to find your way down underneath the glass again. And the reason I'm only using the very edge of this pry tool is because we don't want to damage any internals inside. In this case, any cables that may lie over the battery. We don't want to puncture the battery on accident. So it is very important that you do not go all the way in with your pry tool, just to avoid it from being damaged. That really is coming off pretty easy, so this should be coming off right now. Once you've already gone ahead and done all four sides of the phone, you want to lift up one of the edges. In this case, I'm going to start from this side right here. Just going to get my nail underneath it. I'm going to carefully lift up on it. In this case, it's already pretty easy to remove. And there we have access to the back of the phone. Now, we're not going to be unscrewing anything or removing anything from here. We are just going to do a basic cleanup on the frame, so that way there's no obstructions when we put our new back glass on. Here, I will show you, is the new back glass. So this comes complete with a camera lens as well. It looks like the only component that we are going to have to replace in this case would be this little component right here, which appears to be a microphone that just makes contact with these pins right here. So that seems to be the only thing that we're going to pass over from our old back glass over to our new back glass. So I'll set that aside to heat up, and in the meantime, we are going to prep the rest of the phone by cleaning up the frame. It is very important that you do a good job at cleaning up the frame, so that way you make sure that there's no debris underneath that can cause pressure and potentially break your new back glass. So you want to go ahead and just go along the edges, Sometimes the adhesive can come off. In other terms, if you can use more alcohol and potentially like a microfiber cloth, you can go ahead and remove any of the excess adhesive, and that should come off fairly easy. Now, one thing that you can also use is you can use a regular pry tool just to potentially get in here and just scrape away the excess. Just be sure that you're not going too hard. That way you don't risk puncturing anything, ripping anything that's not supposed to. You'll see that all the excess adhesive that is on there will be coming off. This is going to require a little bit of patience, so just go ahead and take your time with that. Now, in terms of how easy this repair is, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that this is right around, I'd say, about a 8.59. I would dare to say a 10 as well. It is a fairly simple repair. It is just going to take a lot of patience in most cases, because not all the time the back glass is going to come off as easy as it did right now. Usually it can come off that easy depending if the adhesive already has, you know, a bit of time that it's been installed. But the most part, you are going to have a lot of patience when doing this. Now, if you yourself cannot do the repair, then feel free to bring it out to a local repair shop. If you live out in Arizona, we do have 4 stores across the valley. Feel free to bring your phone in. We can go ahead and service it as well. If you would like to send your phone out to us to get repaired, then that information will be down below in the description. We do offer a service to any repairs out of the state. It is only within the United States, however, but any state within the United States, we do offer a service in where you can mail your device in. As long as you mail us your device in with your contact information and a shipping information, so where we could send the phone back, we can do the repair for you, and we would ship your phone back essentially as soon as the repair is done. So if you have any repairs you'd like us to do, please feel free to reach out, give us a call, send us a message, or feel free to take a look at our website. Now, it is a bit of a task. You want to make sure that it is as clean as you can get it, so sometimes the adhesive probably isn't going to be strong enough, so all you got to do realistically is probably just even run your thumb over like this, and you'll notice that it'll start to bunch up and roll off. Honestly, it is my preferred tactic to removing the adhesive, although it is tiresome on your thumb. But you don't put the rest of the phone at risk. In this case, when trying to clean it off with the pry tool, you can, like I mentioned, run a risk of damaging something. So I tend to not try and use the pry tool. However, for practical reasons today, you guys can use it as well. But typically, if the adhesive is already old enough, as long as you roll your thumb over it, it'll roll right off. And then if anything, all you got to do realistically with your pry tool is just do a little bit of excess cleanup, and that should be about it. You can see here that there's more on the side here. Alright, so now that we've removed all the adhesive off of our frame, the one thing that I like to do after I do that, I like to give it a once over with a microfiber cloth and a bit of isopropyl alcohol, just so that way any dirt, any grime that's still built up on here, any slight excess adhesive is removed properly. So you can do that with any microfiber cloth. Just gonna go ahead and dunk a little bit of it here in our reservoir. I'm just gonna run it along the frame, making sure that I can remove everything like I should. All right, and you can see there that it's a lot cleaner. It might not look good, like it's cleaner on the camera, but it is a lot more better than it was normally. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clear this off first, and then we'll go ahead and continue with the rest of our repair. All right, and with our back cover still heating up, we are going to move on to one of the next steps, which is going to be to basically prep the rest of the phone in order for us to install our back glass. And for that, the next step is going to be to cut to fit some strips of double-sided adhesive tape. We're going to run it along the entirety of the frame, so that way we have a little bit of water resistancy there. Just gonna get a bit of tape here, making sure that it reaches the complete edge. And I usually like to get my finger and run it through the edge here, so that way I know that it's nice and flat, and that way you can also feel out if there is any debris underneath. Any debris that's stuck underneath the actual tape itself will kind of bunch up, and it's not going to let it sit properly, and that would greatly help us avoid any issues in where if there was debris underneath, then it could cause any unwanted pressure on the new glass and potentially break it. All right, and then just round out the corners to make sure that you do have full coverage. Just get your nail, run it across the edge like that, make sure that it's fully touching. And then we're gonna get an X-Acto knife and we're gonna cut to fit on that corner. Remove the excess. And we're gonna do that for every one of our corners. All right, now we have our tape cut to fit the entirety of the phone. Next step, I think we're going to move on to moving the component that was on our old back glass over to our new back glass. So let me go ahead and set this aside so that way we can get the back glass and move over all the components that we need to. So there's not much that has to be moved from one piece to another. The only piece that we do have to move, as you can see, is going to be this chip that's right here, and this makes contact with a couple of pins that are already on the phone itself. These 4 gold pads make contact with a pin, and that's what, you know, gives access to this microphone to function. So with a pair of tweezers, we're just going to go ahead and go in underneath, trying to lift up. And with the added bonus of the actual heat from the heating pad, this should come out fairly easy. Now, you don't want to pry up on it too hard, but you do want to make sure that you can pry up on it enough that you can remove the piece without damaging it. And we can see there that it is starting to come out a bit. Now, with these pieces as well, you would think that maybe a bit of isopropyl alcohol would help, but in some certain situations, you want to make sure that you do not use alcohol because you can damage components. So in this case, no alcohol for now. It's just going to be pure heat and patience. We can go ahead and then remove that. And then with our brand new back glass, we are going to go ahead and just line that up. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and remove all of our protective covers. The one that we see here covers the camera lens just to avoid any dust from going inside. And now the rest of it that does go along the edge, this one already did come with double-sided adhesive already installed, but the reason that we primarily don't use the adhesive that is already installed is because sometimes it may not be as strong as it needs to be, and if you were to just install it with the adhesive that it comes with, there is a potential that over time, if it's not strong enough, it can come undone, thus leading to your back glass falling off and potentially getting damaged again. So we normally like to remove the factory adhesive that does come along with it because it's not as strong as it should be. So we'll go ahead and just remove that, and we can throw that away. And then we're going to remove our camera lens cover. Set this right here, and we'll get our phone. And then we're going to commence by removing the paper to the back of the double-sided adhesive, revealing the other side. All right, so now that that's done, the next step and the final step before we go ahead and close our phone up, we're going to add another adhesive onto it. Now, besides the double-sided tape, we normally do like to use a liquid silicone. This is B7000, and we're just going to run one continuous small bead around the entirety of the phone. And what that does is it gives us a little bit of wiggle room if in the case that we do have to go ahead and readjust the back glass. If you were to just place the back glass onto the double-sided tape, since it is a dry adhesive, you are going to notice that it is going to get stuck quite fast. And if you try to move it or take it off, you may potentially risk the back glass breaking again. So the B7000 gives us a little bit of wiggle room, so that way, if we do have to remove it, it does come off fairly easy without us having to struggle or potentially break the back glass. It does also help in the sense that it does give a little bit of an extra water resistancy level to it. So that's why we primarily use it as well. You don't want to go too heavy with this stuff. A little bit does go a long way. Just go ahead and cap our adhesive now. And now we can finally go ahead and get our new back glass. Line that up and gently set it down. We're going to make sure that it is making contact everywhere on the frame. Just a little bit of pressure. And there it is. Brand new back glass has been installed. The one final step that we're going to do here as well, we are going to go ahead and clamp it up with these small C clamps here. Normally we do this after the adhesive is installed because the adhesive does take a little bit of time to cure. And normally the clamps help us keep the back glass in position so that way it avoids lifting and it drying in properly. So you do want to just go ahead and you can clamp it down. If you don't have clamps, you can use just regular tape. Scotch tape does help. And then another tip with this is that normally the clamps aren't placed too strong. You want to clamp it down enough to where it is making a pressure and it is sitting properly on the frame. But you don't want to put too much pressure on it that you risk something potentially breaking as well. All right, well, now that that's clamped up, we will go ahead, put the phone to charge. And then as soon as it is dry, we'll go ahead and contact our customer so they can come back in and pick up their phone. And that's it for today's video, guys. If you did like the video, please go ahead, drop a comment on what you'd like us to do next. Suggestions are appreciated. If you have any feedback, please feel free to give us feedback in the comment section as well. We like making these videos as much as just about anybody out there. Honestly, making these videos is really nice for us. It does let us reach out to you guys, and if you guys are looking for something in particular, we can go ahead and do our best to make the content that you guys want to see. So yeah, comments down below. If you have any suggestions, please share them with us. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share the video. Again, to reiterate, if you do live in Arizona and have a repair that you'd like to do, please feel free to come on in and we'll help you out as best as we can. And if you do not live in Arizona, but you do live in the United States and you would like us to do a repair for you, go ahead in the description below. There will be information to how you can ship it out to us. Ship your device out to us with your information and proper shipping information so we can send you back the phone once it is repaired. As always, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching.